Nobody laughed out loud when the human walked through the depot gates with a large white dog beside her. But the silence was somehow worse. Sergeant Danya Kowalski felt every alien eye on her as she crossed the supply yard. The Torvani guard stood 7 feet tall with blue-gray scales, their weapon arms folded in what she had learned was amusement. The smaller Murathi workers stopped loading crates to stare. Even the insectoid Kelani clicked their mandibles in what sounded like quiet chatter. Ghost walked beside her, calm and steady. His white fur was clean despite the dusty transport ship. His brown eyes moved across the base, watching everything, reacting to nothing. Commander Relith met them at the administration building. He towered over Danya by nearly 2 feet. His scales shifted color slightly as he looked down at Ghost. "Sergeant Kowalski," he said, "we received word you were coming. We did not receive word about this." "This is Ghost," Danya said. "Military working dog, he's part of my unit." "A working dog," Relith said the word carefully, like he was tasting something strange. "Your species still uses animals for military purposes." "We do." Lieutenant Fenn stepped out from behind his commander. He was younger, his scales darker, and he made no effort to hide his feelings. "How fascinating. My historical studies mentioned that primitive species often relied on beasts before developing proper technology. I did not expect to see it in person." Danya kept her face neutral. She had been warned about this. Humans were new to the coalition. They had only joined the war against the Scourge 8 months ago. Many alien species still saw them as newcomers, backwards, primitive. "Ghost is trained in detection and protection," she said. "He can sense things your technology cannot." Fenn made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Our sensors can detect a single heat signature from orbit. Our scanners can identify chemical compounds at the molecular level. What exactly can this pet do that our equipment cannot?" Ghost sat down beside Danya. He did not growl at Fenn. He did not react at all. He simply watched. "You would be surprised," Danya said. Relith raised a scaled hand. "Enough, Lieutenant. The humans have been assigned to help guard the ammunition bunkers. Those are our orders." He looked at Danya with something that might have been pity. "You will take the night watch at Bunker 7. Report to Specialist Tanabe for orientation." Night watch, the throwaway shift. Danya understood the message clearly. She found Yuki Tanabe in the supply office, a young woman with tired eyes and a warm smile. Yuki was the only other human on base. "So you brought a dog," Yuki said, scratching Ghost behind the ears. "That's going to make you popular." "Already noticed. The Torvani think we're about 10,000 years behind them. Bringing a canine partner is not going to change their minds." Yuki smiled. "But I'm glad you're here. Gets lonely being the only human." That night, Danya walked Ghost through the bunker complex. 7 massive structures held enough weapons and ammunition to supply 3 sectors of the war. If this depot fell, entire battle lines would collapse. The alien guards watched her pass with silent judgment. Some whispered to each other. One Kelani guard actually stepped back when Ghost walked by, as if the dog might be contagious. Ghost ignored them all. He sniffed the air, checked corners, and studied shadows. When they reached Bunker 7, he stopped. Danya waited. Ghost was looking at the tree line beyond the perimeter fence. His ears were forward. His body was still. "What is it, boy?" Ghost did not move. He did not bark or growl. He just stood there watching the darkness between the trees. Danya checked her scanner. Nothing. No heat signatures, no movement. The perimeter sensors showed green across the board. "Come on," she said finally. "Let's finish the round." Ghost followed, but twice more that night he stopped to stare at the same tree line. Each time the sensors showed nothing. Each time Ghost watched anyway. When dawn came, Danya filed her report. She mentioned Ghost's alerts. The response came from Fenn. "Animal displays random behavior due to unfamiliar environment. No action required." Danya looked at Ghost, who was finally sleeping on his mat beside her bunk. In 4 years of partnership, Ghost had never alerted to nothing. He was not random. he was not confused. Something was out there. She just could not prove it yet. 2 weeks passed, and Ghost kept alerting to nothing. Every night Danya walked the perimeter with him. Every night Ghost would stop at the same spots near Bunker 7. He would stare at the tree line or the ground or the ventilation grates. His body would go still. His ears would point forward. And every night the sensors showed absolutely nothing. Private Okonkwo joined her on the 3rd week. He was a big man from Lagos, quiet and steady, and he did not question the dog. "My grandmother kept dogs," he said one night as they walked past Bunker 5. "She said they could see spirits, ghosts that walked before death came." "Ghost can't see spirits," Danya said. "But he can hear things we can't, smell things we'll never detect. 30,000 years of partnership, and we still don't fully understand what they're capable of." 30,000 years. That's how long humans and dogs have been together. Before farming, before cities, before writing, dogs were our first partners. Okonkwo nodded slowly, and the Torvani think this is primitive. The Torvani think anything older than their empire is primitive. Ghost stopped again, same spot, same direction. He was looking at a ventilation grate near Bunker 7's foundation. Danya checked her scanner. Green, nothing. She filed another report. This time, Fen responded in person. He found her in the mess hall the next morning, his scales dark with irritation. "You have filed 17 alerts in 14 days, he said. 17, all based on animal behavior, all showing nothing on sensors. Ghost doesn't alert to nothing. Ghost is an animal. Animals are unpredictable, irrational, and incapable of proper threat assessment. This is why advanced species use technology instead of beasts." A soft voice interrupted them. "May I ask a question?" They turned. A small Murathi stood nearby, barely 4 feet tall, covered in gray-brown fur. Her large eyes blinked nervously. "What do you want, Healer Sova?" Fen asked. "I wish to know more about the human-canine bond." Sova looked at Danya. "My species once had partner creatures, long ago, before we grew past such things. The histories say they could sense dangers we could not see." Fen snorted. "Murathi superstition. Technology replaced those creatures for good reason." "Did it?" Sova asked quietly. "The histories also say we lost something when we broke that bond, something we never named but always missed." Fen left without another word. That evening, Sova found Danya at the bunkers. Ghost sniffed the small alien carefully, then allowed her to approach. "He is beautiful," Sova said. "So calm, so watchful. Would you like to see what he can do?" Danya spent an hour showing Sova how Ghost worked. She hid objects. Ghost found them. She gave silent hand signals. Ghost responded perfectly. She pointed to shadows. Ghost checked them and reported back with his body language. "He speaks to you," Sova whispered. "Without words, you understand each other. We trust each other. That's what 30,000 years creates, not just training, partnership." That night, Ghost refused to leave the ventilation grate near Bunker 7. Danya called for him twice. He did not move. Okonkwo arrived for his shift. "What's wrong with him?" "I don't know. He's never done this before." Ghost sat facing the grate. He did not bark, he did not growl, he was completely silent. But his muscles were tight, his eyes never blinked. "Should we report it?" Okonkwo asked. "They'll just dismiss it again." "Then what do we do?" Danya sat down beside Ghost. She put her hand on his back and felt the tension in his body. He was waiting for something, he was certain. "We stay," she said. "If Ghost won't leave this spot, then neither will I." Okonkwo sat down on her other side. "Then neither will I." The three of them watched the darkness. The sensors showed green. The night was quiet. Ghost never moved, never relaxed, never looked away from that ventilation grate. Dawn came, nothing happened. But Danya noticed something she had missed before. The bolts on the ventilation grate were not dusty like the others. They were clean. Someone had touched them recently. She did not file a report this time. Instead, she started watching the grate herself. The War Council met in the main command building, while rain pounded the metal roof. Admiral Cresswin had arrived from the human fleet that morning. She was a tall woman with gray hair and sharp eyes, and she did not waste time with pleasantries. 3 supply depots have been destroyed in the last month, she said, pointing at the holographic map. All from within, all without warning. General Torath, the Torvani military leader, studied the map with his golden eyes. The Scourge have never shown infiltration capabilities. They swarm, they overwhelm, they do not sneak. They do now? Intelligence Officer Pale stepped forward. The Kelani's mandibles clicked as she activated a new display. We have analyzed the attack patterns. Each depot was destroyed by internal detonation. Ammunition stores ignited from the inside. No perimeter breach was ever detected. Commander Relith leaned forward. How is that possible? Our sensors would detect any Scourge presence. They would detect a normal Scourge, Pale said. But we have evidence of a new variant, smaller, designed for stealth. We are calling them crawlers. The hologram showed a creature unlike the massive Scourge warriors they usually fought. This one was small, perhaps 2 feet long, built low to the ground, with a body that seemed designed to squeeze through gaps. These creatures operate below our sensor thresholds, Pale continued. They tunnel, they wait, they carry incendiary charges directly to ammunition stores. Impossible, Fenn said. Our sensors cover all frequencies, all heat signatures, all movement patterns. Admiral Cresswin spoke quietly, and yet 3 depots are gone. The room fell silent. Relith looked at Torath. If this base falls, we lose the entire sector's supply line. Then we increase patrols, Torath said. We add more sensors, we triple our guards. With respect, General, Cresswin said, the other 3 depots had increased sensors too. They had extra guards, they still died without warning. She paused. However, I have noticed something interesting. She pulled up another display. Human bases using K9 units have reported multiple alerts over the past month, alerts with no sensor confirmation. The timing matches the attacks on other depots. Torath's scales shifted. You believe animals detected what our technology could not. I believe it is worth considering. Fenn laughed. This is absurd. You want us to trust beasts over. Lieutenant, Relith's voice was cold. Enough. The meeting ended without resolution, but Danya noticed that Relith looked troubled as he left. That evening, she found Ghost refusing his dinner. He stood at the door of their quarters, staring toward the bunkers. You need to eat, boy. Ghost did not move. Sover appeared at the doorway. Is he unwell? No, he's worried. Something has changed out there. How do you know? Danya looked at her partner. Ghost had lost weight over the past weeks. He barely slept. He spent every moment watching, waiting, guarding. Because I know him. Sova was quiet for a moment. There is an old Murathi story. Our bonded creatures could sense what we called the death that walks unseen. We thought it was superstition. Perhaps it was not. That night, Danya took Ghost to Bunker 7 early. He led her straight to the ventilation grate and began to sniff the ground around it. Then he started to dig. Ghost, stop. What are you doing? He ignored her. His paws scraped at the packed earth beside the grate. He was frantic but silent, never barking, just digging with desperate intensity. Okonkwo ran over. What's happening? I don't know. Get a light. They shone a torch into the shallow hole Ghost had created. The dirt looked loose, disturbed, and there was something else, a faint smell, something chemical. Danya pulled Ghost back and examined the grate more closely. The bolts were not just clean. They were scratched, recently removed and replaced. She pressed her ear to the metal. Far below, almost too faint to hear, there was a sound. Clicking, scraping, something moving in the darkness beneath her feet. Ghost began to growl, low and continuous. He had never made this sound before. Get Commander Relith, Danya said. Now. Relith arrived with 4 guards. He looked at the hole Ghost had dug, then at the grate, then at the dog still growling at the ground. "Your sensors," Danya said. "What do they show?" Relith checked his device. Nothing, no heat signatures, no movement. "Listen." The commander knelt beside the grate. He pressed his ear to the metal the way Danya had. His scales turned pale. "I hear something. They're tunneling under us. They've been doing it for weeks. Ghost has been detecting them every night. Vibrations in the ground, sounds below your sensor range." Relith stood. "If they're beneath the bunker." The grate exploded upward. Something small and dark shot out of the hole. It was a crawler, exactly like the intelligence images had shown. 2 feet long, flat with too many legs, and strapped to its back was a blinking device. Ghost moved faster than any of them could react. He hit the crawler before it could run, his jaws clamping down on its body. The creature shrieked, a horrible high sound, and tried to activate its payload. Ghost shook it hard, breaking something vital. The blinking device went dark. "Infiltration," Danya screamed into her radio. "Bunker 7, multiple hostiles." More crawlers poured from the hole. 5, 10, 20, each carrying incendiary charges, each racing toward the bunker walls. The guards opened fire. Danya drew her sidearm. Okonkwo appeared from nowhere with his rifle blazing. Ghost released the dead crawler and lunged at another. He fought in silence, no barking, no snarling, just efficient violence. He caught one crawler, killed it, caught another. The base alarm finally sounded. Floodlights blazed on. More soldiers came running. But the crawlers kept coming. The tunnel was full of them. A crawler broke past the line and ran straight for Danya. She fired twice but missed. Ghost saw it. He threw himself between them, taking the creature's charge head first. They rolled across the ground together. Ghost's teeth found the thing's throat. Another crawler leaped at him from behind. Ghost yelped. It was the first sound he had made. The crawler had slashed his side, leaving a deep gash that immediately began to bleed. He killed that one too. Coalition reinforcements arrived in force. Torvani soldiers sealed the tunnel entrance with plasma charges. Kelani sharpshooters picked off the remaining crawlers. Murathi medics rushed forward to treat the wounded. The battle lasted 12 minutes. When it was over, 43 crawlers lay dead. The ammunition bunker stood untouched. Danya found Ghost beside the grate. He was lying on his side, bleeding badly, but his eyes were still open, still watching the hole, still guarding. "Medic," she screamed. Sova reached him first, her small hands pressed against his wound. "He needs surgery now." "Will he live?" "I do not know." They lifted Ghost onto a stretcher. As they carried him away, Danya saw something that broke her heart. Ghost was trying to turn his head, trying to look back at Bunker 7. Even now, wounded and bleeding, he would not stop watching his post. "It's okay, boy," she whispered, running beside the stretcher. "It's okay, you did it, you saved them all." Ghost's tail moved once, just a small wag, then his eyes finally closed. Relith stood by the sealed tunnel, staring at the destruction around him. Fen was beside him, silent for once, his scales completely pale. 17 alerts, Relith said quietly. "He gave us 17 warnings, and we ignored every one." Fen did not respond. There was nothing to say. Ghost almost died twice on the operating table. Sova worked through the night, combining Murathi healing techniques with human veterinary medicine. The gash had cut deep, damaging muscle and nicking an artery. Any other creature would have collapsed immediately. But Ghost had kept fighting, he had kept guarding. Even bleeding out, he had not stopped. Danya sat outside the medical bay for 9 hours. Okonkwo brought her food she did not eat. Yuki brought water she did not drink. She just sat and waited. When Sova finally emerged, her fur was matted with blood and her large eyes were exhausted. "He will live," she said. Danya could not speak. She just nodded and the tears came silently. The intelligence analysis took 3 days. When the results came in, the Coalition Council gathered to hear them. The crawlers had been tunneling for approximately 6 weeks, Officer Pale reported. They dug slowly, carefully, staying below the threshold of our ground sensors. Their approach used subsonic vibrations that our equipment cannot detect. But the dog could hear them, General Torath said. Yes, General. Canine hearing extends far below human range and far below our sensor capabilities. The dog was detecting vibrations in the earth that we had no way of measuring. Relith stood. Every alert that Sergeant Kowalski filed was accurate, every single one. We dismissed them all. The room was very quiet. Admiral Cresswin spoke carefully. Intelligence estimates that 2 other bases could have been saved if they had received similar warnings. 4,000 soldiers died at those bases. The weight of that number hung in the air. After the meeting, Relith went to the medical bay. He stood beside Ghost's recovery bed for a long time. The dog was sleeping, bandaged heavily, but his breathing was steady. Danya watched from the doorway. I owe him an apology, Relith said finally. I owe you both an apology. You were wrong about him. I was wrong about many things. Relith turned to face her. We have fought beside many species across many wars. We have never fought beside a partnership like yours. In the following days, Ghost's recovery became a kind of pilgrimage site. Soldiers from every species found reasons to visit the medical bay. The Murathi brought small gifts and flowers. The Kelani stood at attention as if he were a fallen commander. Even the Torvani came, standing in awkward silence, unsure how to express something they had never felt before. Fen did not come. Danya heard he had requested a transfer to a distant sector. She did not blame him. Some shame is too heavy to face. General Torath visited on the 4th day. He brought an official document. The Coalition has never given rank to a non-sapient being, he said. We did not have a process for it. We had to create one. He held out the paper. Ghost is hereby granted the rank of Guardian First Class, the first of his kind to receive Coalition honors. Ghost lifted his head weakly. His tail wagged once. Torath smiled, something Danya had never seen a Torvani do. Rest well, Guardian. Your post is secure. Admiral Cresswin visited next. She brought a different kind of news. Command wants to promote you, she said. Reassignment to the fleet, better quarters, more responsibility. You've earned it. Danya looked at Ghost. He was watching her with those calm brown eyes. I'm staying here, she said. I thought you might say that, Cresswin smiled. For what it's worth, I've requested 40 more K-9 units for Coalition deployment. Command approved it this morning. They finally believe us. They saw what Ghost did. They believe. Cresswin paused at the door. 30,000 years of partnership. Maybe we humans learned something the galaxy forgot. That night, Sova helped Danya move Ghost's bed near the window. From there, if he lifted his head, he could see Bunker 7. He lifted his head, he looked. His tail wagged once. Then he finally slept peacefully. 1 year later, the depot had changed. K-9 units patrolled every section now. German Shepherds, Belgian Malinois, Labrador Retrievers. 40 dogs from Earth, each partnered with a human handler, each trained to detect what technology could not. The Scourge had tried 2 more infiltration attempts. Both times, the dogs caught them before they even finished their tunnels. But it was Bunker 7 that drew the most attention. A plaque had been mounted on the wall beside the ventilation grate. The words were simple, written in 12 Coalition languages. He stood silent. He saw what we could not. He never left his post. New Coalition officers came to the depot for training now. They toured the facility, learned about supplies and logistics, and always they visited Bunker 7. Today, a group of young recruits stood before the plaque. They were from 5 different species. Some had scales, some had fur. One was an insectoid who clicked nervously. All of them listened as their instructor, a Torvani captain, told the story. The humans call them dogs, the captain said. Wolves, domesticated over 30,000 years. They hear what we cannot hear, smell what we cannot smell, sense what our machines will never detect. A young Murathi recruit raised her hand. The histories say my people once had such partners. Many species did. Most abandoned them as technology. Improved, the humans never did. The captain paused. Perhaps they understood something we forgot. After the tour, the recruits wandered the depot. One of them, a young Torvani with dark scales, found himself near the night patrol route. A human woman was walking with a large white dog. The dog had scars on his side, barely visible through his thick fur. He moved with the calm confidence of a veteran soldier. "Excuse me," the recruit said. "Are you Sergeant Kowalski?" The woman smiled. "I am." "And this is Ghost, the Guardian." Ghost looked at the young alien with those steady brown eyes. He did not bark, he did not react, he simply observed. "He is." The recruit knelt carefully, the way he had been taught. Ghost sniffed him once, then accepted a gentle touch on his head. "They say you were offered promotions, commands, transfers to better postings. Why do you still walk the night watch?" Daniel looked at Ghost. He was watching the tree line as he always did. Even now, even safe, he never stopped guarding. "He's not just watching for enemies," she said. "He's watching over his pack." His pack? When we first arrived, the other species laughed at him, called him primitive, a pet, a beast. Danya smiled. Now look around. Torvani officers study his tactics. Murathi medics write papers about our bond. Kelani soldiers request K9 partnerships for their own units. He changed how an entire galaxy thinks about partnership. Ghost's tail wagged once, just once. This depot, these soldiers, every species here, they're his pack now. And a good dog never leaves his pack. The young recruit looked at Ghost with new understanding. 30,000 years. 30,000 years, that's how long humans and dogs have trusted each other. Through ice ages and wars, through hunger and loss, through everything the universe threw at us. Danya put her hand on Ghost's back. Technology fails, sensors break, but this bond, this never fails. Night fell over the depot. The twin moons of Vashnu rose, casting silver light across the bunkers. Danya and Ghost walked their patrol. They passed Bunker 7. Ghost stopped, as he always did, and looked at the sealed grate for a long moment. Then he moved on. The young Torvani recruit found them near the perimeter fence. He stood at attention. "Permission to join the patrol, Sergeant." Danya looked at Ghost. Ghost looked at the recruit. Something passed between them, silent and... "Certainly." Permission granted. The three of them walked together into the darkness. The human, the dog, and the alien who was learning what partnership truly meant. Behind them, the plaque on Bunker 7 caught the moonlight. He stood silent. He saw what we could not. He never left his post. And somewhere in the night, Ghost's tail wagged. Just once,